Well, we are the ones in charge. There is no higher title in America in our civic life than the title of citizen. And
That's right.
I am going on a rant, aren't I? But, you know, it is your God-given right and your constitutionally given right and responsibility to
Hmm.
vote with the highest degree of integrity
Yes.
possible.
Yes.
So, you vote for whoever you feel most confident and comfortable and sincere about voting for. You
Yep.
know, um, yeah. That's And I'm pretty sure this would be the last piece of my rant. We also need to remember that the two parties we have now have not always been there.
That's
Okay.
right.
The
That's right.
Constitution did not, number one, the Constitution did not decree that there would be two parties, but it set things up so that they wind up creating two parties. And it
Yes.
definitely does not say what the two parties are going to be.
Work. That's right.
Okay. Now, you just go to Wikipedia and look at the history of political parties in the
Yep.
United States. Political parties have come and gone.
Yep.
And here's the thing, if you are like massively dissatisfied with both parties, okay, you might need to, number one, you can just go ahead and vote for the party that most strongly reflects your own beliefs. But number two, maybe you negotiate with yourself and say, okay, I'm going to vote for the party that I really want in this election. But in this election, I'm going to vote for the party that I think is closest to what I want to help them win. Because the party
Yep.
that I really want is not going to make it up here,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
All right. The party that I really want, I might be able to get a magistrate in. I might be able to get
Yes.
a member of city council in, right?
Yes.
I'm not going to get
Yes.
that with the party that I really want. But
Yes.
here's the thing: you vote as often as you can for the party that you really want, and
Yes.
that's how you build the party.
Exactly. Because
Do
those votes
do
matter.
do that for a decade or two, and your party might become one of the two major parties.
That's right.
Because neither Republican nor Democrat have to be here forever.
That's right.
Okay,
That's
so
right.
yeah,
Yep. You
and
got it.
and honestly, the way things have been shook up the last 10 days, okay,
Might be a brand new popular party tomorrow. We don't know.
you
We don't
know,
know what's going on.
I mean, we could have a whole significant turnout by 2028, right?
Yep.
For a
Yep.
reason. So uh, that's that. Yeah, rant over. I invite you to respond if you would like.
Yeah, no, you hit it right on the head, and I feel like I interrupted the rant quite a few times. So I'm okay, because you really did talk about it, and yeah, don't let anybody shame you. And also though too, we have to be careful about shaming people who don't want to vote, and more so talking about, okay, well, if you don't want to vote for that, then what will you vote for? What does matter for your everyday life? Um, because maybe you don't care about none of the other stuff because it doesn't matter to you, but maybe you got a kid in school and you need you want more bus routes, like, so it's just kind of getting to like what is important to you.
Mhm.
And I feel there's actually some religions who and some local and national religions who don't vote, and you end up encountering those people too. And
Right?
I thought today, I said, I kind of actually feel bad for y'all because
Mhm.
you've been told by your particular religion that with poorly poorly worded Bible quotes or poor quotes that aren't really, valid about, give to Caesar what is Caesar's, give to God what is God's, right? That's one that they try to pull out. And I'm like, yeah, but he didn't say don't pay Caesar. He said that this is here and that's here, but you still supposed to do both things. Do both things. Yeah, because that's also, you have a spiritual duty to do what you can for the environment that you live in. You're supposed to take care of the widows, take care of the poor, take care of the orphans. How are you going to do that if you don't want to participate in government at a bigger level? Because it's the government that is the one who's going to have to, so it's just something about, and that's where relationship building and organizing matters. And by talking and building relationships with people to try to understand their whys. It can't just stop with, I don't vote. Okay, you want to talk about it more? No. If you don't, that's fine. But also, I'm here. I'm here to talk about it. Tell me what are the things that are important to you? Is it the violence in your neighborhood? Is it the potholes on your street? Regardless of what type of neighborhood you live in. So just trying to find that thing that matters to you, and maybe that becomes that helps a person who doesn't vote actually become a voter, instead of saying like, oh, you're terrible, I can't believe you didn't vote. That doesn't help anybody vote. They don't care.
That doesn't help. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Well, don't. So what?
Right. And a common point of view expressed by non-voters is my vote doesn't matter, right? And honestly, sometimes it can be hard to persuade them otherwise. Sometimes it can look and feel like. Sometimes it looks and feel like they're right. Right. And I just recently arrived at a place myself that I think will be helpful going forward if I ever have the opportunity to have that particular conversation, which is, you know what? You actually may be right in a way, because maybe your vote doesn't matter or my vote doesn't matter, but our votes matter.
Yes, together.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
So all of my life, civic discourse has revolved around the right and the responsibility of casting a vote. And that's kind of the summit of civic life, political life, casting your vote. But there's a level I've recently been thinking about, a level like above that, beyond that, which is getting together with other people and using your own individual agency and power and influence that you may have with family members,
right?
Friends,
that's right,
neighbors, to encourage them to vote.
Yep.
Okay, you can become the most powerful representative for your particular point of view and for the particular person that you want to vote for. Talk with your family, friends, neighbors, co-workers. So, if you exercise the power that you do have, which is the power to share with people in your circle, if you exercise that power, right, you could wind up making more of a difference than you can imagine.
Right.
So, yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
You touched on, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that when you mention people who don't vote, that reminded me also another whole area of engagement, if you will,
Mhm.
that is largely uncultivated. And
Mhm.
again, this is a nonpartisan conversation, but
That's right.
I am going to refer to something that Kamala Harris said, uh, if I can find my note, because I wrote it down,
Mhm.
and now of course I'm not finding it, so I'm going to rough it. But she said something to the effect of, I think it was about growing the middle class. The growth of the middle class is the growth of America.
Oh, okay.
Something. The point being that, in her, if she becomes president, she wants to focus on like aiding, assisting, helping the middle class, right? Now, I happen to be quoting or referring to Kamala Harris, but candidates of both parties have
Yeah.
said that at different times. Candidates of both parties at different times have made an appeal to the middle class and have
Yep.
made kind of like promises to the middle class, or have claimed to represent or to intend to represent the middle class, right?
Mhm.
I've heard those type of references like forever.
Mhm.
What I have not heard that I can recall is a candidate making a promise to or declaring an intent to represent the poor.
Right.
And I mentioned that to lead up to this. Uh, the Reverend Dr. William Barber,
Mhm.
Barber, look him up, please,
Mhm. Mhm.
uh, has for years been doing an annual pilgrimage to DC,
Poor People's Campaign. Yeah.
which is actually an extension of the work that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King did
That's right.
way back when, the
Yep.
Poor People's Campaign.
Yep.
Uh, and I encourage you to go ahead and go on YouTube, look it up, because the video's there.
Mhm.
And um, in the most recent visit, which was either last month or 2 months ago, it was recent, he pointed out that poor people make up poor and low income working people because we have to force ourselves to recognize that it is very easy to have a job in America and still not have
Yep.
enough to live on. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So,
Keep talking.
okay.
Mhm.
But poor and low income workers make up a large chunk of non-voters,
Yep.
and they don't vote because they because life has taught them that elected people don't represent them.
That's right. That's right.
And they are entrenched in that belief. And,
Yep.
and that belief is reinforced with every single campaign speech and every single press conference that does not mention the poor.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So all of that is on my part. I'm saying all of that to say that any candidate, Republican, Democrat, heck, Green, Socialist, Libertarian, any candidate who could mobilize the poor, could
Yeah.
tap into that population, poor and low
Yep.
income earner population, could win
Yep.
just by doing that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
In 2016, you know, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have even tried to do it because I'm not remembering the actual numbers. I'm just remembering percentages. The difference between Trump and Clinton was really 3 million votes, right? But
Yes.
in terms of the total number, that's still a small margin.
Yes.
Like she got like 26%, and he got like 25%, whatever.
Yep.
But again, the majority of people didn't vote at all. You know,
Yeah.
Someone who really goes after that population could, you know,
Yeah. So bad.
could get 30% of the electorate.
Yep. Yep. Easy.
Okay. So now that's an observation, and you've been nodding and agreeing. So you're out there in the field. Tell me what you see and hear in terms of specifically low-income folks, poor folks, you know, and the degree to which they do or don't feel like they're represented, and therefore it's worth the trouble to even vote.
Yeah, I think it's hard. Well, number one, I think that nowadays we are getting more strati in our socioeconomic statuses. So you really kind of can't go from, you know, poor, working poor, middle class, upper middle, you know. I honestly think there's so much that's entrenched with our values and generations now that it is hard to even think about. So for us, I'll give you an example. So for VEEM, you know, I talked earlier about the fact that we are focused in Ward 13, which is Homewood and East Hills. And one of the ways that once we got there and we started digging into the data, we actually found that the average highest turnout in the county, one of the highest turnouts in the county, and one of the lowest turnouts in the county both exist in Ward 13, which is maybe, you know, a couple of miles. And so on the high end, you have the wards, the precincts where you have homeowners, longtime homeowners who are a part of their community, and, you know, it's theirs and they have pride in it, and they're voters and their family works the election, like they have a history and all of that. When you look at the lowest turnouts, it is those that have majority subsidized housing.
Okay.
And so, and, you know, and then we talk about the fact that, like, you know, when regards to like who's actually going to be more impacted by the decisions of lawmakers and not have any protections is the people who are in government housing and in those type of programs, because they're the ones who are going to cut funding, give funding, right? Like that's who it'll impact first. They'll eventually get around the taxes and stuff like that, you know, people who aren't in that situation, but, you know, they set the food stamp budgets. They set what the income guidelines, what poverty guidelines are going to be, whether school lunch is going to cost, you know, there's so many little things, right, that legislators and our elected officials are deciding upon that you may have more impact on you if you are living in a subsidized housing situation. So, but what we found, though, is that even after years, the last few years, when we first started, that subsidized housing community was below 10% in turnout. And then over the last 7 years, up until 2023, we and the other organizations who work in this field of work have been able to raise the standard, raise the bar, and been able to double and get those precincts even above 20% in every election.
Wow.
Until 2023. 2023, all of a sudden, that neighborhood started trending back down. And we're like, okay, what's going on? And then we thought it was just a primary. Then, we elected a whole county executive. We're like, okay, nope, still kept trending down. This last primary, we're back in single digits in that neighborhood. And so VEEM is working hard with other community partners that are serving that area. Like, okay, well, what are y'all doing to get to these folks? Because they're in subsidized housing. They need to do recertifications. There's family support centers. There's all these people, right, that are up there that need to engage this community. So what can we do to get to them? The old ways that we used to do are not working anymore. So you kind of used to be able to say, hey, we're going to have free lunch, free dinner. We're going to give away gift cards. We're going to raffle off. Not this new generation. They're in subsidized housing, but their poor is not the same as our poor in maybe in our generations. Not quite sure what it is. I don't quite know. Maybe it's because they have other sources and resources that they can use to get. And I think it's just kind of, with millennials and Generation Z, the traditional stuff doesn't work. You can't just tell me to go because I'm supposed to. You can't just tell me to go to work and get a job and deal with this abuse on this job because I'm supposed to. It doesn't work for them. They need more motivation. So now what we're all trying to do is brainstorm, how do we go about getting to that population? What is going to motivate them? What do they actually care about? What do they want? What's important, right? Quality of life. Like, there's so many things to try to figure out. And so I say that because I can't even say that because of that level of change, I don't know that we know enough to know what's going to motivate for presidential candidates to say, let me go motivate the poor people. This isn't this new generation of poor is not the same generation of poor that we used to have, where you could kind of throw money at them and say, hey, or throw food, or let's give out food, let's do this, let's give away sneakers, let's give away book bags, right? Some stuff we've always been doing to help the community. That generation don't really care nothing about that because they have ways to get it. I don't know what them ways are. I could guess, but that would be all conjecture, right? But yeah, they don't need our programs to do anything for them. And so we need to be, and this is what every organization, not just voting rights organizations, every organization needs to really start thinking about what can we do, what does motivate this generation, what do they care about? Because in this neighborhood, you got a whole bunch of young parents with little kids. So maybe they care more about what the kids can have. Maybe they were, we got to figure out what it is, because the regular, come eat lunch and we'll give you a $25 gift card to Giant Eagle, ain't working. It don't work. So the campaigns, if they're going to approach it to go seek for the poor people, they're going to have to think about who the poor really are, who the working poor really are, and what their motivation is. That was my very long answer to your question.
Oh dear. Well, I wish that I felt more confident about any party's ability to figure out all of that in the next 100 days. Right. But maybe somebody will figure it out by 2028.
Perhaps.
Okay. Well, Ms. Formley, we have been on longer than I intended. I mean, I didn't set myself a hard deadline or anything, but it's been almost an hour and a half.
Yep.
That's because, number one, I find you so engaging, and number two, you've been very, you've indulged me a lot and letting me go off a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
I really appreciate this time that we've had together. Perhaps we'll be able to check in with one another again sometime between now and the big day in November, just to get a sense of how things are flowing
Yep.
and what we might need to do halfway through to get some more folks, at least signed up, at least get some folks registered. But again, for any folks who didn't catch it the first time, this has been about an hour and 24 minutes, I don't know, with Maryn Formley of VEEM Pittsburgh, and that's voter education, empowerment, and enlightenment and mobilization.
No. Those are really good letters. Voter empowerment, education, and enrichment movement.
Enrichment. Okay. Enrichment movement. Okay.
I like enlightenment mobilization. I might start using that. Because it's important.
Well, okay. But again, thank you for this time, and all you folks out there watching on YouTube, you know what to do. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, because you're not going to want to miss a single episode of Mic Drops as we move into the future to change the doggone world through powerful conversations. Thank you, Ms. Formley. You have yourself a great night, and everybody else out there, y'all take care.